Hello, everyone. You drink as soon as we start recording.
I wanted a sip.
Well, again, welcome back to the
We're
NoCare podcast. We're back, episode 3. Who thought we'd make it here? Honestly,
I thought we would make it here.
Oh, I didn't.
I was relatively confident we would at least do 3.
3 is the
But
magic
we'll
number.
now.
3 is the
Fidget spinner is back.
Fidget spinner.
That is the
return.
That's
a different
huge...
fidget spinner, not the E-League fidget spinner. It's
No, that was the same one from last time.
What? No, I had the E-League fidget spinner last time.
That one was white.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had. Now we have to go back and watch the footage.
Listen, anyone else that's seen the first podcast, you know I'm right. So
watch.
We are a minute in and you've already taken an L, Jake. How does that make you feel?
Go in, watch the entirety of the first episode, and then come back to this one.
And then watch the second one.
And then watch the second one.
And then come back to this one again.
And then share it. Share it with, like, send it to your grandparents. I'm sure. I'm trying to get. The grandparent audience. I
don't know what audience we want because I love to make insulting generalizations about large groups of people. And I think as a byproduct of that, you kind of anger people sometimes.
I mean, I feel like insulting people.
It's like who am I?
Does tend to lead to.
Depends on who you're talking to, but yes, I'm just thinking like, what groups are okay? What groups am I okay with hating me?
I'm trying to get the TikTok community.
I am not trying to get the TikTok community.
I'm trying to get furries. I definitely want a furry fan base.
I want this podcast to be like something I would watch when I'm 12 and think it's cool.
We've already alienated the maps.
I don't want pedophiles listening to us. I am anti-pedophilia.
Wow, that's a bold take here.
It seems like you're pro. It seems like you're pro.
This is the second straight episode we brought up pedophilia. Are we the pedophile podcast?
No, I don't think that's a good rebranding of our name.
No, it is alliteration though. Someone should hop on that.
No. There doesn't need to be. I mean, like, think about how many different podcasts what topics of podcasts. There shouldn't be a pedophile podcast.
If you did it as like Chris Hansen, telling stories.
But nobody. How can you be Chris Hansen, not a podcast?
Chris Hansen,
because he's like the dude that goes and tracks down.
Should I like try and reach out predators to Chris Hansen and? So I try and track down Chris Hansen and get him on the podcast. Do you think he'd come on?
No.
What's a low level celebrity?
What's like a C- celebrity?
No, I think we need a D.
No, C- we could probably get. No, maybe not.
No.
Maybe Lil B.
If we flashed enough money to Lil B, we could.
Yeah, like if I give him all of the money I made over the summer,
do you think we can get TJX6?
No, we'd have to pay him a lot of money. I don't know.
What if
we also don't really need those people?
Yeah, but hear me out. Genius idea. We reach out to Kenny Beats and get him to produce a theme song for us.
The man is way too busy for
I'm gonna just be hopping on his Twitch streams now, donating hundreds of dollars until he makes us a theme song.
You could probably. I mean, I never watch his streams, but you could probably.
I feel like if I donated like $100, he would make me a beat for.
Yeah, he would take like 10 minutes to make you a pretty decent beat.
It doesn't take him long to make a beat.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems like the guy who'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll help out. And then imagine how much clout we can get if we have a Kenny Beats produced beat
as our intro.
Like we could put that like.
That's not a bad idea actually. Now that you explain it, I like that. I'd be down.
I like how this episode has started mostly out as like a retrospective on the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, really a reflection of 2 episodes we've done.
I think we're too big. I think we need to humble ourselves.
Yeah, the fame is really getting to me.
Like, honestly, I was walking down the street and someone said hello to me. I was at Wendy's.
Someone said hello.
I was at Wendy's and some crackhead just was.
Speaking of Wendy's or crackheads at Wendy's, when I went to Boston, one of Dylan's roommates, Nate, he went to go get Wendy's, and like on his way to Wendy's, he saw this woman in like a long sundress, and she walked onto the grass and then like spread her legs apart and just stood there for like a minute. So he's like, that's weird. And then he walked by it, and she was taking a piss like in the middle of the day next to a Wendy's in a park.
Why would it be like Wendy's? I feel like Wendy's is the least crack friendly. McDonald's is definitely pro crack. Burger King is a crack.
Burger King is where you go if you're a real crackhead.
Yeah, like you. I have no reason to irrationally hate Burger King, but I do.
No, they're overpriced. Their food's not that good.
Yeah, like the chicken fries
in the
kind of
context
gas,
of
onion rings kind of gas. Other than that, like what do you got there? Like the Whopper,
nothing. Such a boring name.
Yeah.
Burger King.
Yeah,
It's like clearly you're fast food. We know you're making burgers. You don't need to tell us that in your name.
Like McDonald's. I think McDonald's has more lore too. I want them to bring back the McDonald's lore. Like
you mean
with
with
the Hamburglar and
name?
Grimace?
Oh, I thought you meant like the origins of the company, like that movie, The
Oh
Founder.
no,
with,
no. I don't care about
what's his name? Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And what was the dude's name that started? Ray Kroc, I think. Ray Kroc.
Weirdly enough, this came up on my theme park podcast in their week's episode too. I don't know why this has now come up on ours, but
the dude.
Yeah,
the movie was
about.
really good because it made it seem like, well, it showed like his humble beginnings where he would sell milkshake machines.
Yeah.
And then how he like showed that he was a good businessman by taking over this company, but also was a dick because he just stole the name and the whole idea from two people.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking more about Grimace and the Hamburglar.
I don't.
You don't know who?
I am completely disenchanted with McDonald's lore. I think that is information that nobody needs to know.
The Hamburglar, like
that is information nobody needs. That's poisonous information.
We should also bring back the like PlayStation 1s that they had in McDonald's. Do you remember when they used to just have like PlayStation 1s like set up and you could play like Spyro?
I would. Vaguely, maybe, but I never really went to McDonald's a ton as a kid.
I didn't really either, but it was always an event. Like I was dumb hyped for McDonald's. Like I was like they had because they had the Play Palace where like I could like go down a slide while I waited for my burger.
That's true.
But I also hated McDonald's because I didn't eat burgers at the time, so I wanted a grilled cheese. But
were you a vegan child? I
didn't like cheeseburgers. I liked hot dogs. I didn't like cheeseburgers until I was like 10.
What is wrong with you? What happened?
But I always wanted a grilled cheese. I loved grilled cheese. I was a big grilled cheese guy to this day. And I
hate grilled cheese.
What? Actually. Grilled cheese is so good.
It's just cheese and bread.
Oh, I experiment with my grilled cheese. I season them.
How do you season
like sometimes I put
bread?
Old Bay on the bread, and then like I like try different cheeses with the Old Bay to find. Like sometimes I'll put a little garlic powder if I'm using mozzarella, so it'd be like more like a garlic pizza feel.
Okay, that's a little bit better, but I need more than just cheese and bread.
Do you agree that a quesadilla is just a Mexican grilled cheese?
If there's chicken in it, no. I never get a normal quesadilla either. Like
I used to get that. I'm a big cheese guy. I was big cheese.
Well, it's so like it doesn't taste good to me, and it's also terrible to just eat. Like more so with the quesadillas if it's just like a tortilla and cheese in it,
and dunking it into like an absurd amount of sour cream as well. I'm a big dairy guy. I'm pro big dairy.
I am also big dairy, but I don't know. I feel like I used to drink way more milk than I do these days.
I've definitely cut back.
I've fallen off my milk game.
I definitely have cut back. Well, you're also not supposed to drink milk as you get older.
Yeah, I think that is another reason why. Like, because like I don't know, milk is a good breakfast drink.
Yeah,
and I feel like if I limit myself to just drinking milk in the morning, then
I have like
probably
one
not going
glass
to kill
in the morning
me
and
by 35.
Then one glass with dinner.
It's just not like milk is just not a lunch or dinner drink.
I mean, I'm just quirky like that. I'm just built different.
No, I used to drink milk with every single meal, but now
the problem is I don't really
so
like
boring.
anything
I hate
else.
Water.
Water's
terrible.
okay, but like I don't drink soda. I don't drink a lot of juices.
What, do you not like carbonation?
No. We've gone over this for like multiple times in our friendship, but for the people on the podcast who don't know, I didn't drink soda growing up, so like I never got used to carbonation, and it still bothers me to this day. Like I can't.
So do you not like beer that much then?
No, I beer's fine, but like I can't chug it or I will throw up because my body just doesn't agree with carbonation. That's why I don't like chug beers. It's because it's not that it's too much beer. It's too much carbonation for me. That's why I don't shotgun that often either.
I don't really mind it.
But it's dangerous when I
when
drink alcohol without carbonation. Like if I get like the spiked Arnold Palmers, which aren't carbonated, I'll just down them, and then like they're like 8% too. It's bad. They're good though.
I mean, at least. Like depending on how. Are you saying like the mixed drinks? Like,
no. You can buy spiked Arnold Palmers. Like,
really?
Made
I
from
didn't know
Arnold
that was
Palmer.
a thing.
Yeah, they're super good. Remember, we got those alcoholic chocolate milks in.
Yes.
Those were insanely good, and they were 12%. And
what were they called?
They were called
like mudslides?
Bottled mudslides, but they're only sold in Canada. I looked into it because they were that good.
That's one thing that I really hate about not being 21 is that I would if I could go into liquor stores, there'd be so many cool like random things I would find.
I want to just start chiefing just random beers until I like find like I'm not really interested in like getting pissed drunk off liquor at.
And it's so boring getting the same beer over
Yeah.
and over again. Like, as much as Jenny is a good beer for what it is, I can't just load up my fridge with Jenny every single day of the summer and be satisfied.
If it's a Kolsch.
I don't really like the Kolsch.
I chief the Kolsch.
I don't like the Kolsch, but they have another like seasonal drink.
The Oktoberfest.
I think that's
it's a little bit more hopsy.
I like that.
Yeah, I've been.
Dude, have you ever heard a dad like talk about beer he loves?
It's something I strive to.
It's really an artistry.
Yeah, it really is.
Like the way that they speak and like you'll be talking to like a dad that's actually pretty dumb, but then he'll start talking about beer and then he'll use words that you didn't even think he could pronounce.
I definitely want to get into like trying different IPAs.
I was talking because I went to mass for a week. I was talking to Alex's dad, who's not like a stupid dad. If you listen to this, that was not targeted towards you.
Wow.
The way that he was describing
alienating Alex's father.
The way that he was describing beers made me think of like dads that are like super into beers but are not into like raising their children or having their life together. So I respect you at least a little bit.
I mean, I definitely want to get into trying like. I know Abbott's just came out with a beer, and like
really,
yeah, like a chocolate ice cream. There's a coffee beer.
I want to try a lot of different beers, but I don't want to try a beer that when I hear the name of it, I know it's gonna be terrible.
No, because then it could be a sleeper.
It depends.
See, I'm always looking for the underdog.
I know that you're gonna drink any of those like potential sleepers, but the odds are really low, and then you'll just start throwing up, and then I'll know. I'm not gonna try that.
Yeah, I probably am like the most likely to try like weird foods and drinks.
I probably try more weird drinks than you, but you maybe try more weird foods. But because I remember Kim got some absinthe one time.
Yeah, we had some.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, you might like this. Like this seems like something strange you'd pick up." And I'm like, "Yes, yes." And it was terrible.
Yeah, I hated the absinthe.
It was absolutely disgusting. But...
Do you remember the fig vodka we had?
Oh.
That was horrible. That was.
Oh, I actually want to throw up after hearing.
Yeah,
that is such a.
And we used it as a punishment drink too, and it just was not. We had a lot of punishment drinks.
That's the life of a college student.
Yeah, I guess
not having enough money to get good like drinks, and then it's like the punishment drink. Everybody has to drink it.
Yeah, and it's. Then you're just.
Oh, like remember the moonshine I got the one time? I got like an.
That was pretty good.
I got an apple pie moonshine and then a blueberry one.
I liked both of those.
I liked both of them. I thought they were really good.
Yeah, I liked both of those. I thought those were both fairly good.
Some of the weak people that we're friends with at college weren't a big fan, like Alex.
Now you've alienated Alex.
I'm not gonna roast his dad, but I will roast Alex.
Ugh. So, I mean, 2020.
Trump has COVID.
Which is just...
I was telling you earlier, I woke up this morning to the sound of Dylan's roommate having sex, and then his other roommates saying, "Oh, Trump has COVID, the world is ending." So it was a terrible morning.
That's like... That I really feel like
it's the most college wake up. I wish
I recorded that and then like I could do like a record scratch freeze frame. Hi, my name's Noah Redder and this is how I got here. And like just cues into music. That's how I feel like all 2020 is just one long record scratch freeze frame. This is how we got here.
It's like they can't stop scratching the record.
Yeah, like at this point there is no record.
It's been scratched down so much that it just turns into dust.
Oh, it's been a lot. Like
it has been a lot, and I think people other than us have had a much worse time. But overall, I worked 2 jobs this summer, and not much has changed. It does suck that we're not back at class, and a lot of like cool places are shut down.
I feel like 2020
other than that
felt like a lifetime. Like I feel like this year's been going on forever.
Aged, yeah. I feel like I've lost more hair this year than any other year. And I'm going to blame that on the stress of society and not my genetics.
For once in your life, you can blame it.
Yeah, dude, this is a huge win. 2020 is a great year for me. There are no downsides. I mean, there are a lot of downsides. Just calling you.
My father.
Oh, Lord.
I'll call him after the episode.
No, but I mean, this year has been kind of bad, but Bobby Shmurda is getting out at the end.
No.
It got pushed?
It got pushed. He didn't get early release. He'll be getting out in 2021. Yeah. Let that sink in. I want to hope
there is no hope left. I mean, at least we had
We need a new
Disney's
hope.
rendition of Milan.
Stop. That was so bad. And then they doubled down. They announced that they're doing a second live action Lion King.
Are you surprised? They're making so much money. They don't care.
They're not making money. No one saw Mulan.
They wouldn't make a movie unless they were making money.
And
no, but the Lion King.
The Lion King did not make that much money. They're showing less and less returns after Beauty and the Beast. Like Beauty and the Beast was the first one. It sold a ton.
Yeah, with Emma Watson. Right?
Yes, and then Lion King was last. Mulan was way less, and now they're doing Lion King 2.
They need to stop. Disney needs to stop. We need to bomb Disney.
No, they need to go back to making their original movies. Like the most recent Pixar movie was fantastic. Onward what's his name? Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, and they played two elves, and it was all like kind of D&D themed. It was
I had never even heard
fantastic.
about this movie.
It came out right when COVID happened in theaters, so like it got kind of
that sucks. Yeah,
but I watched it on Disney Plus. It was fantastic. Like it emotionally, like it was an emotional story, tearjerker, but like very good movie, a lot of fun. It was definitely tailor made to like people who like fantasy elements, but it wasn't like it both made fun of it, like it was aware of itself being like, oh, it's kind of nerdy to like play D&D, but at the same time it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool. I definitely liked it.
Wait, were they two elves playing D&D?
No, so they're two elves, and the D&D in the movie is not like fantasy, it's the history of the land. So like the older brother's huge into it, he's like a historian, and he loves playing, like reenacting the history basically, and everyone else is like, basically they created electricity, and then everyone just stopped using magic because they're like, oh, technology is so much cooler than magic, you don't have to rely on a wizard anymore or anything.
Who would ever say technology is cooler than magic? Because you can, that's alright. Anyways,
and like they have to go to like the Manicore, which is like a lion, lion dragon. I don't know what exactly, scorpion.
It's like one of those like mixed beasts.
And she's like, oh yeah, I used to help adventurers, but now I run the equivalent of a Chuck E. Cheese, and like it's very sad. And then she's like, no, we should like.
I'm very lost.
It's hard to explain. It was a very good movie. You just gotta
I don't know. I feel like as an adult, it's harder for
Pixar movies are different than Disney movies though. Like
it's still hard for me to watch.
Like did you see Coco?
No,
Coco was great.
But I know I don't have any desire to watch a children's movie.
It's not a children's movie.
It is a children's movie.
It's not a children's movie.
It's made for children.
It's made for all ages. It's a family movie, if anything.
Okay, but that means like a movie that is childish in nature because everybody in your family can enjoy that at some level. But it's not. It's like children enjoy Pixar movies more than I do, or more than I would.
Well, they would probably become more obsessed with them, but I think there's a difference between a children's movie. Like I would say, like the Grinch movie that came out with Benedict Cumberbatch, children's movie. The Emoji movie, children's, like those talk down. Whereas I feel like Pixar talks up to parents and like gives adult themes while also presenting them in a childish way. Like a lot of the movies have a lot of adult themes in them about growing up and like.
So are you saying the only thing that distinguishes a movie from being a kid's movie or not is if they talk down to their audience or not?
Yes.
I kind of disagree with that. I feel like there's a lot more factors that go into making a children's movie than that, specifically.
Well, I think in the modern, like, the way children's movies are made now, it's either you're talked down to and kind of, like, go to, like, the basic humor and not have, like, a very deep story, and then you can have, like, a Pixar movie like Coco, where it's all about family.
Well, I actually did recently watch Monsters University.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy that movie.
That wasn't Pixar, but yes, it's the same concept.
I did actually really enjoy that movie, but it's, again, I only watched it because my two little cousins were watching it. Like, I have no desire to go out and watch Coco because it's not something that interests me. It doesn't grab my attention at this point in my life. Whereas Coco, like, if I was a kid and I saw a trailer for Coco, it would grab my attention. Or for Monsters U, or et cetera, et cetera.
And I guess I'm in a special class because I just love Disney so much that, like, I'm going to see it regardless. Like, I love to watch whatever Disney puts out because except for I don't watch Disney Channel shows anymore because I guess I'm an adult and that would be weird. But like
what shows are you secretly wanting to watch on Disney Channel?
There was a show with Jake Paul, just a friendly reminder. Bizarre Bark. It was on Disney.
Oh yeah,
and was with Jake Paul.
Isn't he fighting Floyd Mayweather soon?
I thought he was arrested.
Am I thinking of Logan? I don't know. I mix them up. I don't ever follow news about them. It's like, oh, you're fighting KSI because you're a racist.
And then they ended in a tie.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I did recently see, I don't know, Logan or Jake. One of them went on Theo Von's podcast with Tim Dillon, and was I telling you about that? But
no.
I don't remember what brother it was, but I was surprised by how much more mature they were compared to when they first came up and how they blew up. Like remember them doing prank videos where it's like, oh, this news truck just came by, I'm gonna climb on top of it because that's funny and zany. I thought that was really immature. And then of course the whole thing with going into the forest and like monetizing somebody hanging in a tree or hanging from a tree. But they see.
I mean, they're also kids, so like I don't.
And it's hard to understand from our perspective what it's like being a child or a teenager
and blowing up the way they did. Like Like I understand why they made some of the bad choices they did, because it's like, again, you're.
So I probably would have made.
I'm a 20-year-old. I'm an idiot. We're all, but you're under the scrutiny of people watching you all the time, so every little small thing is
and because that's how you derive your money and a lot of like your self-worth from your audience, you feel like, and also because their days, like every single part of their day is recorded, you feel like you have to act out and do things to please that, because it's so important for you in your life. And so I kind of understand why they did some of the things they did, but it's still hard to like back that up and say like I enjoyed Jake Paul or Logan.
No, I think you can still view it as a mistake while also acknowledging that they can come back from it. Like
and I don't like watch a lot of their things, but from what little I have seen, it seems like they do realize they were going way too crazy back in the day.
Yeah,
I mean I don't know. They probably have a TikTok. I haven't seen it.
I have never
but there's like
seen their TikTok if they have one.
It's interesting seeing them grow up. So like think about it this way: they grew up, they became popular through Vine, and that was like they're like the first generation of kids that were able to use social media to become multimillionaires and like icons in society. So it's interesting to see how they change and how that might be different from people on TikTok and them evolving.
I'm also very interested because not everyone, but a lot of the TikTok people coming up too, I feel like are falling into the same pitfalls of like none of them have learned from this, which is I find kind of shocking, because I think some of them have, but a lot of them just like are falling for the same. This is like the second time around. Shouldn't we like know better?
From our perspective, yes, but I think I'm not actually shocked that a lot of TikTok people are doing the same things, because I mean think about it. They probably got a phone when they were 10 and then started doing these things, and when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, you're not going to be like, oh, I want to be a social media star, I'm going to look at what all of these social media stars have done and not make their mistakes. You're just going to do whatever is trendy and popular, and then if you get caught in that wave, you're going to make the most of what you can and probably make mistakes, become a drug addict, and die young.
Yeah, I also feel bad too,
or make like hundreds of millions of dollars.
I also feel bad too because like they're where's the words I'm looking for? They're like stalked, like at their age, like TMZ's following them around, and they're covering they're like 15-year-olds and like,
oh, so what happened? Did you and your boyfriend break up? And it's like, that's, first of all, it's not a boyfriend at 15. You're a kid. Like that's like, that's barely a relationship at that point. And second of all, like why is TMZ following them around and like asking, like that's.
It's sad to watch, because you know that you're not, that all of these social media people or like TikTok stars, whatever, they're gonna have such a hard time later in life because they never had a real childhood.
Yeah, it's like child stars, but on such a greater level, like Macaulay Culkin and.
But every single second of your life, because if TMZ isn't following you around, then it's someone else, or you're recording your own video, or someone else is shooting a video at your TikTok mansion, like. It's a like, sure, great that they're making a ton of money, and like at the end of the day, I guess you could say like we can't talk as much because we haven't like gotten that.
But we can if you subscribe. Please.
Please subscribe. But what was
Please,
I
I want to
saying?
be able to speak more on this topic. So, like,
Yes.
you're giving us... This is a social experiment.
Yes, exactly. What was I saying?
The social dilemma.
At the end, end of the day, cool, they're making money, but I think in, like, later in life, 10, 15 years, it wouldn't be a hot take to say that they're not going to be having as good of a time.
No.
And it's going to be much harder to deal with, like, problems in your life when you're not, like, riding the trendy wave of doing the new TikTok Fortnite dance, or you have a hot, like, popping YouTube channel. When your audience has grown up, nobody cares anymore.
No one's watching you, and then what? Do you go and just get a job, and then...
It's like, no.
And
None of
then
them are ever going to go and get a job. They never had that
Yeah.
foundation. That's a good point. Like, they'll probably make enough money to not ever need to have a job. But then your
they're
life
also
is going to be...
equally blowing it. Like, they're spending, like, a lot of
They're
TikTok
blowing it, yeah.
on clothes, on insanely expensive cars. Like, there's a Fortnite house.
There's a Fortnite house?
It's called the 1% Fortnite house, and it's a bunch of extremely wealthy kids that all live in a house together and play Fortnite. And, like, they have, like, 8 McLarens, like, parked outside. They're just filthy rich, and it's just like, what is this? How are these kids gonna, like, know anything?
And why are their
forward?
parents
And I don't mean to
letting
shit
them
on them.
do
I
that?
honestly like
what 15-year-old wouldn't love to have a
Yeah,
fancy car?
I would
and
love to have a
live in
McLaren
mansion?
and live in a mansion right now, but I don't mean
Like,
to shit on them.
I don't blame them. I blame their parents for not having enough foresight to say, like, this is great that you're making all this money and you're being really successful, but you need to learn some life lessons that you're not going to learn, and you may never learn because you missed the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and it's interesting just thinking about, like, what they're gonna be like moving forward and, like, growing up, and
Yeah,
I feel like
that's kind of what I was saying.
It's on
cool
such a
seeing,
large level
yeah,
that, like, is unseen before. So
and it's cool seeing that Logan and Jake Paul and people of that era are maturing and going into different things, and they still definitely keep a good amount of their popularity. Like, they have a good audience. But I wonder, I feel like it's not going to be the same thing on TikTok, because TikTok, sure, Logan and Jake Paul did grow up on Vine, but they blew up using, like, Disney or YouTube. Their YouTube really got them big. So these TikTok people, and maybe they already have, like, plans for the future. I don't watch them. I don't know what they do, but I would assume, like, they're TikTok famous because people watch them only on TikTok, and they watch, like, a ton of TikTok famous people, and they just flip through over and over. So they might not have, like, as secure of an audience, if you know what I mean.
as secure, and I would even go as far as, you may disagree with this, but Jake and Logan Paul were still on Vine and on YouTube trying to make content that was not. I'm not saying that TikTok's content's bad, but there's still comedic elements that Jake and Logan, like, acting elements that they needed to do while they were, like, again, Jake went on to act for a Disney Channel show, and I think there's elements that, like, was moving them forward, whereas TikTok, a lot of it's lip syncing, a lot of it's
you have
dancing.
No talent.
And it's interesting because I was listening, I forgot what I was listening to, they brought this up, but TikTok is making one joke everyone's joke. So it's people like using sounds, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna use a sound, it's my joke now. And like jokes are, like, kind of shared communally now. And it should be interesting to see, like that's not how stand-up works, or, like, they can't, like, parallel into, like, stand-up.
And that was
or
the
unique
thing about Vine, was that everybody was so creative. The only way you got people to pay attention was that you were funny. And
that's what I'm trying to say.
Jake and Logan Paul did have some good, like, from what I can remember, they did have some good Vines that I thought were funny.
Yeah, and I think they had some YouTube things that were funny too. Like I don't think everything they did. Again, they was sometimes pointing to a younger audience than us at the time too, which I think made a difference. But I think they're still making music. And
they've always been doing something, and I think they both are clearly talented people that know how to, like, secure an audience and then do different things and still keep attention on them. Whereas TikTok, like, that was a really good point. Like, a lot of these people have no talent, and not to be, like, terribly mean, but they literally have no talent. You're lip syncing, or you're just, like, I don't know, a TikTok girl, and you dress up in an outfit.
Yeah.
There's no, like, what's your plan to move forward? Are you just going to do that forever? What's going to happen when your audience grows up?
Yeah, and like I said, I always felt like the Paul brothers were always trying to better themselves, even if they did miss up at some points. They were always, like, progressing. I felt like, whereas I feel like you're very stale on TikTok. You're very
And you can be.
You
on
get
TikTok.
your niche and you stick there. You don't like again. Even sidestepping into YouTube for Jake and Logan Paul was a way to progress, a way to like move forward. And I don't feel like you have the same growth currently in TikTok. I don't know where it's gonna go. But
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
I'm sure there's TikTokers who like I've seen some who are very like funny and very smart, who are creative and do their own thing, who could sidestep into YouTube and have good careers.
Or maybe they already do. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you watch any TikTok YouTubers, but
yeah,
I think TikTok there is like actually like a good amount of talent on TikTok where I'll watch one and I think it's hilarious and the person does that consistently. But I think that the biggest people on TikTok are not those people. They're not like creative, talented people. And I don't know. I guess they're just getting the attention of like young kids, and it's hard for me to understand like what draws people towards them.
Yeah, because even when I was like younger, the YouTubers I watched they were like, I watched a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, but they were funny. Like they had personality. They had personality.
There's no personality in lip sync.
Yeah. So I don't even understand the attractiveness to kids. I guess since we're boomers now.
We really are boomers now. Think about that. I have no idea why somebody would want to watch some TikTok girl lip sync. Like it's cool to see it once because it's like, oh, she's hot. But then after that, like I'm just gonna do that all day.
And then think about it. When Let's Plays came out, the older generation was like, oh, why would you watch someone play a video game and not just play it yourself?
Yeah. And
I wonder if like the reason we just don't understand it is just because we're not kids.
Well, that's the thing. I disagree more with that. The first point you were making, where it's like, why would you watch somebody playing video games when you could play it?
Yeah.
Because that idea, it's like watching somebody do something is not a new concept.
Yes, I know. I don't believe that.
But I think that argument holds, and maybe it's just biased because we're the age we are and in the era we are. But I think that argument holds less weight than this one does.
What? What if we got? You think we can get Ugly God on the podcast?
I don't know what he's been doing recently. I haven't heard. I don't think he's made any music.
Maybe he's just like waiting to get invited to a podcast. We could like extend our hand to him.
Yeah. What if we make Ugly God blow up again because of this podcast?
What if we get Ugly God a Kenny beat?
No. Imagine if we got Playboy Cardi to come on the podcast and he dropped a whole lot of red on the podcast.
No, that's a fever dream.
Let me dream.
That would be insane. Like he doesn't go on to like the Breakfast Club. No, he comes onto this podcast with 30 subscribers.
We're live streaming on Facebook
and drops a whole lot of red. But he never put it on Spotify. It's only exclusively in the YouTube video.
I think this could be a big opportunity for him. So, Cardi, listen, we're out here for you.
My stomach hurt.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't understand the love for Cardi. I'm gonna be honest. Like he has a couple bangers, but I'm just not a big Cardi guy.
I think you haven't listened to. Well, I mean, it sounds stupid, but like you should listen to more of his music, and I would say listen to more of his unreleased music. Like he has a ridiculous amount of unreleased music, and most of it is way better than what he has on Spotify.
Why doesn't he release them? I don't get him.
It's from what I've heard, he's part of Interscope, which I think A$AP Rocky and like a good amount of big name rappers are a part of. And from what I've gathered, there's a problem with the record label and they're being just.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because it's been ready for a while.
A whole lot of red's been like teased for 2 years now.
At least a year.
Yeah. It's crazy that like with record labels, some rappers can just like tease an album and it just like.
I never really understand the whole like idea of a record label. Why do you need a record label to put out your
music? A modern day, you really don't anymore.
It's great because I assume you can get a lot of connections through a record label, and that could be really useful for a smaller artist. But I don't know. Do you think part of like making your name a household name in rap is getting big artists on your first album or something?
No, I don't think you have to. I think if you have the talent, your first album. I mean, it's hard. I even weird connection, but I even struggle with this with the podcast. Like, it's hard to figure out how to grow something because there's just so much stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you have to really set yourself apart, but at the same time, it's hard to like keep growing. When there's so much other content, like it's such a saturated market.
It is, and like what it's like I don't even understand what would make us unique to get other people's attentions, but I feel like if we just keep doing it, like at the very least, I enjoy. This is kind of like what I was saying in the last podcast. At the very least, I enjoy just talking to you guys, or like mostly you, but like anybody that we bring on, I just enjoy having conversations. And if somebody wants to listen to it, that's great. Like I don't need this to blow up for me to be satisfied with doing this for a long period of time.
I don't need it either, but I do like to look into like ways to.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're putting it out there, why not try and make it as big as we possibly can? But I also feel like we would need to put in a lot of time and effort to make it like if that was our sole focus.
Yeah, it's trying to get someone who doesn't know either of us to listen to us talk for an hour.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess it makes more sense for like our friends and families to want to listen to us because they know us and they like us for like our like individuality and how we interact. But yeah, how do we grab somebody else and convince them that what we're saying is
worth listening,
worth watching, or somewhat intelligent?
Considering how many times there's just unintelligent things that go on.
Yeah, which Tim in the comments is like, the lighting is terrible. Tim, if you watch this, I'm going to.
Oh, Tim did want to be brought up on the podcast, though. So
he did or did
he did? He's like, there's not enough Tim talk.
Let me put this kid on blast, real quick. Tim, your pit vipers are fake. Let's be honest. I've seen them. I've worn them. Fake. Disgusting. You're a liar.
You're bad at skiing.
You're bad at skiing. You're terrible at skiing. Your dad is better than you in every way, shape, and form. There's nothing you can do to live up to him.
And that was Tim talk. Oh! Every episode
Tim's gonna be so pissed off.
And we did get another request to talk about monkeys.
Oh yeah, Quinn wanted to talk about monkeys. And I feel like I've talked to you about this, but the whole idea that monkeys are now in the Stone Age and that they're continuously evolving, I think that's really cool. Also, gorillas are monsters.
Gorillas are terrifying.
Like, I mean, I feel like everybody gets bored to that point where they go on YouTube and look up videos of like large animals, or I was looking up with Parker and Dylan just like people getting chased by animals. Those are amazing videos. If anyone ever gets bored to want to watch that, those are great. Like watching a bear chase this dude on a bike.
It's so weird thinking that we come from like the same, like not species, but we live on the same planet as animals.
Oh, actually, this is like a very strange tangential point to make to this, but I wanted to talk about abortion. But abortion in the context of like obviously like when is it okay to abort a baby? And
this is a hot take you just jumped into.
Well, so it is, but I'm not really going to talk about abortion. I more want to talk about consciousness, because the debate about abortion is when does this like developing group of cells have a consciousness in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's also kind of like why I'm so interested in neuroscience and psychedelic research, is understanding consciousness. And like is consciousness something that's always a part of every like piece of matter and energy?
Yeah.
Or is consciousness more of like a dualist perspective in terms of
like do amoebas have
we kind of, I think we briefly talked about it on the last podcast with Parker, but like that idea, like is the mind completely separate from the body?
Yes.
And if that is the case, when does that like take hold in a fetus? Like that whole idea. So what do you think? Like I really like the idea that every piece of matter and energy has some form of consciousness, and if you organize it in a specific way, then that gives you the consciousness that we know today, like as humans.
I struggle too to think about this, because like there's fungus or is it fungus? Okay.
Fungi, mycelium or mycelii.
I think it's actually coral that like release their everything at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, who did I hear that from?
It was on this JRE.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I forget who said it, but it was on JRE.
I think it was Eric Weinstein.
I think it was Eric Weinstein.
But yeah, where they cut off a piece of coral reef, and then they okay, good. We got a few more minutes. They cut off a piece of a coral reef, and then they brought it to London and put it in a dark closet, and it's still like, I forget what the process it went through, but it started like budding or something.
Yeah, and look how things that aren't humans communicate in the kind of
so you should listen to Paul Stamets on the Joe Rogan podcast, because he talks about how like the connection of fungus and mycelium underneath the earth is literally an internet. Did we talk about this in the last podcast too?
I don't think we talked about this in the last one. We've talked about this like outside of podcast world.
Yeah. But that is insane.
But like the idea
so
of
many things that we're completely unaware of. Yeah. How does consciousness, like how does an animal, how does like my dog Reina, how does she understand consciousness? Like what's her consciousness like? How does she view us like communicating with each other?
And that's exactly
communicating with
I
her.
was trying to portray when I first said it, is just like we live on the same earth as all these things that all I guess maybe have consciousness.
It's like, yeah, we live on this earth where everything kind of knows what's going on, but not really.
Yeah, and if the monkeys, to loop back, are in the Stone Age, are they can your consciousness develop? I guess is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, and then that also goes to another point. How would their consciousness progress to the level of ours, and why would it do that?
And are they on the same exponential technological growth? Like, I know they're only in the Stone Age.
Yeah, because they're a different species, does their technology advance at a different rate? Or does it advance in different ways that we're not aware of?
And if we're going 1 million years out and the Earth is still here, is there going to be another species after monkeys that starts to going into a Stone Age? Like...
I mean, I think everything is going to continue to evolve, and as long as the planet isn't destroyed, then, yeah, we could see different... Oh, that'd be insane. Like, imagine if we got to the point where we could explore space and inhabit different planets, and then we more or less left Earth untouched, like, out of respect for it.
Yeah.
And then, as a result, another intelligent life form starts to dominate Earth.
Takes control.
And then that's... Like, what if that's the only way that... I mean, I think, that, honestly, they're probably aliens, but... Assuming that there aren't, like, in that, like, mindset, what if Earth is the only way to produce intelligent life?
What if it's... This is getting really weird. But what if it's a cycle?
Everything's a cycle. Everything's a cycle.
So yeah, everything's a cycle. But what if this has happened on, like, a multi, like, billions, trillions of years level of evolution, where at a certain point... the species evolves, goes to space, and they become the aliens to now the next generation, per se, of species to run a planet.
I don't know if you've ever heard the theory, and I don't know it exactly, but there is a theory out there, which I don't agree with, but I think is really interesting, that we, like humans, like us, we came from, I think, like Neptune or Venus. Mm-hmm. And that we, like going through it logically, it actually makes somewhat more sense than any other crazy theory. But, like, imagine if there was nuclear war or something, and most of the planet got destroyed, but then, like, a subset of people escaped, and then they had to, you know, like in an Interstellar, where Anne Hathaway, if anyone hasn't seen it, whatever.
Spoilers.
But when Anne Hathaway, like, she loses everybody, and then, oh yeah, it's right there. And then, she has to raise, like, she has all of these fertilized cells that she has to raise by herself. Like, how do you teach them about human history? You don't have any books to show, like, all of human history. Yeah. So what they might remember, what they might be able to keep throughout history is, like, ideas of, like, oh, there was something flying in the sky, or there used to be like, there's another thing that has advanced technology, but there's no way to keep all of human history, like, all of that anthropological.
I hate / love how little we know about, like, it always seems like...
It makes it more fun to speculate, in my opinion.
Yeah, but, like, we have advanced, and we're advancing, and in the millions of years humans have been on this earth, we've obviously advanced, but we still know, like, so little.
And it's almost, not like, it's like, it's depressing to think that there's so much useful information from our past that we will never be able to access.
When the Library of Alexandria burned.
Yeah, like that, or just, like, information about the origin of humanity.
Or, like, everything during, like, when we went into the Dark Ages and in medieval history, like, everything just kind of fell apart. We lost years and years of records because people stopped learning how to read and write. And that's crazy that can happen in general.
And it could happen again.
Because...
Unless you subscribe right now.
Save the podcast. This is the human history that you need to show your kids in 2047.
Yes, we are. By the time we're done with this podcast, we will have more information in the Library of Alexandria. So, but only if you give us money and subscribe.
Yes, because if we don't, we will be burned.
You are single-handedly destroying humanity if you do not subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You are regressing us years. In
All
all seriousness, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the bell, all those zesty
or we will
things.
hunt you down.
Possibly. Thank you for watching episode 3. We'll be back in another week. I'm learning how to edit. I'm learning how to light. It's getting better.
All right. Adios.
Peace.